Hi folks, welcome. In this episode I want to talk about two very important objects, bach.roll and bach.score. These objects are the centerpiece of Bach when it comes to musical notation and score manipulation. Okay, we have two score objects in Bach. One is called bach.roll and the other one is called bach.score. The difference is that the bach.roll works in absolute time and the bach.score works in relative time. So whenever I work with bach.roll, I think in terms of milliseconds. If I work with bach.score, I can think in traditional rhythmic notations. Here I'm loading a MIDI file. I can lock the patch, hitting Control or Command scroll. I can zoom in and out. The bach.score does not read a MIDI file because the bach.score needs to have some information in terms of the tempo and the time signature. To read a MIDI file in a bach.score, I need to load it into a bach.roll and then use a Bach quantize to get the bach.score. I can just send a quantized message to the bach.roll and then connect the bach.roll to the middle inlet of the Bach quantize. And then in this case, I can just connect an auto message to the Bach quantize left inlet, and that will translate the proportional notation of bach.roll into a traditional musical notation, as you can see. Both bach.roll and bach.score are in combination more than just simple objects, but a real programming environment for musical notation and composition. One episode won't be enough to cover all of the features. These two objects have their own glorified help files onto which you can search for keywords. Let's look at the bach.roll in detail. Let's look at the inlets and outlets. So I have the onset, then I have the sense, then I have the durations, and then I have the velocities. Extras we can ignore right now, and then I have the playout. So let's simplify the score. I can select different things, different events, and just delete it, hit delete, and that will get rid of these notes. And then I can delete the markers as well with the message clear markers, and now I have a more simplified score. I can play the content of a bach.roll just by selecting it and hitting the space bar. Let's look at what the output of the playout does in detail. So I have a message note and then I have two indexes. The fourth element of the list is the actual important relevant information concerning the onsets, the MIDI sense, the duration, and the velocity. If I select notes, the bach.roll will display informations also on the top left. And I can select a note and then hit Control or Command right arrow to go forward, left arrow to go backwards, and select different notes. If I pick the playout element 4 and the number 2, I will have the sense, duration, and velocity information. But I can also more easily use the Bach play keys onto which I can enter keywords such as sense, duration, and velocity. Let's start with a simple task and start manipulating the content of a bach.roll and create a new bach.roll as a result. I can do something very simple, such as transpose the score, adding an octave to each note, 1200. And in that case, I will just have the same score transposed by an octave. The dump message will result into all of the outlets of the bach.roll outputting content. In this case, since I want to operate only on the MIDI sense value, I can connect everything other than the MIDI sense directly from one Bach roll to the next, and then I can add 1200 to the MIDI sense before it gets input into the new Bach roll. So the dump will be sent to the Bach roll, and then I need to also send a bang to the leftmost inlet of the Bach roll I want to build. If I want to do something a little more complicated, let's say I want to transpose down notes that are above a certain threshold. And let's say this certain threshold is that E. The E that it's in MIDI value would be 76. So in MIDI sense will be 7600s. So if the note is more than that value, I want to transpose this an octave down. For that, I can use the Bach map.element object, which we have talked about in one of the previous episodes. That will iterate each element. As they are iterated, I can do a check on what the MIDI sent value is. And if it's above a certain threshold, I can do the octave down transposition. And if it's not above a certain threshold, I can just send it back to map.element untouched. So for that, I can use the G switch. Here, if the condition of more than 7500 is true, then the third inlet will be activated and the transposition will happen. Here you can see I have a problem though. The A above the E has not been transposed. And this is a bug that results from bad order of execution. So I'm sending the lambda output of the map.element in an order that is wrong. So as in many cases in Max, you have to make sure that the order of execution is right. And what I want to do is first send the element to the logical condition more than, and then after that condition has been tested, I can go ahead and send the actual value back to the map.element. So now I can see how if I hit dump again, now only notes that are above E will be transposed down an octave. Slightly more difficult task. What if I want to have crescendo effect? I want the notes to reach their maximum velocity only at the last note. First of all, I need to get how many notes I have. To do that, I can use the get num chords. With the Bach keys, I can just get the number without the keyword num chords. I want that to be the number that I will divide the index of the incoming note by. The Bach header, as I mentioned in the last video, outputs the index of the item, but in this case the list is a nested list, so I need to pick a specific part of the index, which is in this case the second one, and you can see how that's the only one that progresses from 1 to 16. And then I need to connect the Bach header command line to the Bach collect. I can divide the second index of the Bach header by the number of chords, multiply the velocity that I get from the Bach header by that increasing index from 0 to 1, so that I will have increasing velocities over the course of the score. So I hope this was helpful, and again, this was not by any means the last word on these two objects. It was just kind of scratching the surface of what we can do with them. I want to thank my patrons, I want to thank all of my subscribers, and until the next time, take care.